Lamala, if I end up, I don't imagine that I will end up needing to leave early, but if I do, then I'll make you host before I go.
Thank you.
All right. We are streaming.
Okay, so let's take a moment to set our motivation, especially in the hope that those who want to take part in these readings will be able to do so in a short period of time. So we can rejoice that we're able to do this practice, reading the sutras, where we're going to read the Heart Sutra and the Vajrakuta Sutras this morning or this afternoon, to benefit all sentient beings for their and our eventual enlightenment, Buddhahood, for everyone on the prayer list, for the long, healthy, happy lives of all our teachers. So all their obstacles will be removed, and all their Dharma wishes and mundane wishes will succeed immediately, instantly, for world peace, to eliminate all diseases, especially the COVID-19 virus and all its variants immediately. So all sentient beings will have every happiness and every joy. Live with physical and mental pliancy, with compassion, virtue, bodhisattva deeds. So of course, bodhicitta, and realize emptiness in and out of meditative equipoise. And may they be free of every problem, complication, concern, disease, injury, birth defects, so on, and liberate themselves from samsara in this very lifetime. And then when they pass away from this life, maybe they be spontaneously born on a lotus and with qualities complete in the Pure Land of the Buddha, whichever they choose, especially those who are still teaching, because Geshe-la said that not all Buddhas are teaching in their Pure Lands. Until and remain in those Pure Lands, directly listening to those teachings until you attain your own full enlightenment, Buddhahood. And then I'll pause so that you can set your own personal motivation for doing this practice today. Okay, so now I'm going to share the screen. We'll start with the Heart Sutra. Okay, so now I think I can just, okay. Since this is such a short sutra, I'm just going to read it by myself. Start with the verse of praise from composed by Rahula, Shakyamuni Buddha's son. I pay homage to the sublime mother of the victorious ones of the three times, the inexpressible, inconceivable, and indescribable perfection of wisdom, which is unborn, unceasing, and has the nature of space, and which is the object of perception of self-aware primordial wisdom. I prostrate to the three noble, rare, sublime ones. Thus did I hear at one time the Bhagawan was dwelling on Massa Vulture's mountain in Rajagriha, together with a great community of monks and a great community of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Bhagawan was absorbed in the concentration on the categories of phenomena called profound perception. Also at that time, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara looked upon the very practice of the profound perfection of wisdom and beheld those five aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Then through the power of Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara. How should any son of the lineage train who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom? He said that, and the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara said this to the Venerable Shariputra. Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom should look upon it like this, correctly and repeatedly, beholding those five aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are emptiness, without characteristic, unproduced, unceased, stainless, not without stain, not deficient, not fulfilled. Shariputra, therefore, in emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visual form, no sound, no odor, no taste, no object of touch, and no phenomenon. There is no I element, and so on up to including no mind element and no mental consciousness element. There is no ignorance, no extinction of ignorance, and so on, up to including no aging and death and no extinction of aging and death. Similarly, there is no suffering, origination, cessation, path. There is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Shariputra, therefore, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and dwell in the perfection of wisdom, the mind without obscuration and without fear. Having completely passed beyond error, they reach the end of nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three times also manifestly completely awaken to unsurpassable, perfect, complete enlightenment in reliance on the perfection of wisdom. Therefore, the mantra of perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra equal to the unequaled, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering should be known as truth since it is not false. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is declared. Now, Venerable Chukila, would you please continue here?
Sure, thanks. Tayata gate gate para sam gate bodhi soha. Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, should train in the profound perfection of wisdom like that. Then the Bhagawan arose from that concentration and commended the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara, saying, well said, son of the lineage, it is like that. It is like that. One should practice the profound perfection of wisdom just as you have indicated, even the Tathagatas rejoice. The Bhagawan, having thus spoken, the Venerable Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara, and those surrounding in their entirety, along with the world of gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, were overjoyed and highly praised that spoken by the Bhagawan. And now for the prayer to the lion-faced Dakini. From the holy, supreme realm of Chökhor, you who possess powers of clairvoyance and magical emanation, look after practitioners without distraction as you would a child. To the host of Dakinis of the three abodes, I prostrate. And Mamala, I was wondering if you could lead us in this mantra because I'm not very good at it.
Oh, neither. Okay. Okay, let's do it slowly first. Akasamaraja shadarasa maraya. And we're pushing our mala away from us, as you know. Akasamara jasha darasa marayape. 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 Akasama racha shada rasa 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 marayape. Akashara. Akasama racha shada rasa marayape. 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 Akasama racha shada rasa marayape.
Thank you very much. Okay, and the final mantra, Teya ta gate gate, para gate para sam gate bodhi soha. By the teachings of the noble three rare sublime ones possessing the power of truth, may the hindrances be averted. May they be eliminated. May they be pacified. May all enemies and negative forces opposed to Dharma, there's a little bit missing there, but we'll say that. So, mantra, Shintam Kuru Soha. May the host of 80,000 obstacles be pacified. May we be free from harmful conditions to Dharma. May all excellences be in accord with the Dharma, and may there be auspiciousness and perfect happiness here right now.
Okay, so now we're going to, let's see, start taking turns. And I've got to have everything open because if the dogs start barking, the next person, you know, do it. So let's go in this. Can you see yourselves on the screen? No. Oh, you can? I mean, can you see all four of you?
Yes.
Okay, good. So we'll go in that order. How about that?
Well, it's different on each person's screen. The
Yeah.
order is not the same on each person's screen.
Oh, sure, because you're on top. Okay, all right. So, okay, I'll start, and then Domasi, and then Chikila, and then Peter. How's that? Because Domasi may have to leave early, so we have to make sure that she gets her turn.
Sounds good.
Okay, and so what we're going to do is we're going to go do a full page, okay, unless the dogs start barking. Okay, all right, let's see. I may have to make it even smaller because I have that, okay. The Vajra Cutter Sutra. In the language of India, Arya Vajra Chedika Nama Prajnaparamita Mahayana Sutra. In English, the exalted Mahayana Sutra on the wisdom gone beyond, called the Vajra Cutter. I prostrate to all the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas. Thus did I hear at one time. The Bhagavan was dwelling at Shravasti in the grove of Prince Jeta in the garden of Anathapindata, together with a great Sangha of bhikshus of 1,250 bhikshus and a great many Bodhisattva Mahasattvas. Then in the morning, having put on the lower and upper Dharma robes and carried the bigger bowl, the Bhagavan entered the great city of Shravasti to request alms. Then having gone to the great city of Shravasti to request alms, the Bhagavan afterwards enjoyed the alms food, and having performed the activity of food, since he had given up alms of later food, put away the begging bowl and upper robe. He washed his feet, sat upon, and then here's Domasi, please.
Prepared cushion, and having assumed the cross-legged posture, straighten the body upright and place mindfulness in front. Then many bhikshus approached to the place where the Bhagavan was, and having reached there, bowing their heads to the Bhagavan's feet, circumambulated 3 times and sat to one side. Also at that time, the Venerable Subhuti, joining that very assembly, sat down. Then the Venerable Subhuti rose from the seat, placed the upper robe over one shoulder, set his right knee on the ground, bowed, joined the palms, for the Bhagavan and said this to the Bhagavan. Bhagavan, the extent to which the Tathagata Arhat, perfectly enlightened Buddha, has benefited the Bodhisattva Mahasattvas with highest benefit, the extent to which the Tathagata has entrusted the Bodhisattva Mahasattvas with highest entrustment, Bhagavan, it is astonishing. Sugata, it is astonishing. Bhagavan, how should one who has correctly entered the Bodhisattva's vehicle abide? How practice, how control the mind? That was said, and the Bhagavan said to the Venerable Subhuti, Subhuti, well said, well said. Subhuti, it is so, it is so. The Tathagata has benefited the Bodhisattva Mahasattvas with the highest benefit. The Tathagata has entrusted the Bodhisattva Mahasattvas with the highest entrustment. Subhuti, therefore, listen and properly retain it in mind, and I will explain to you how one who has correctly entered the Bodhisattva's vehicle should abide, how practice, how control the mind. Having replied, Bhagavan, so be it, the Venerable Subhuti listened in accordance with the Bhagavan, and the Bhagavan said this, Subhuti, here one who has correctly entered the Bodhisattva's vehicle should generate the mind of enlightenment, thinking this, as many as are included,
in the category of sentient being, born from egg, born from the womb, born from heat and moisture, born miraculously, with form, without form, with discrimination, without discrimination, but not without subtle discrimination, the realm of sentient beings, as many as are designated by imputations as sentient beings, all those I shall cause to pass completely beyond sorrow into the realm of nirvana, without remainder of the aggregates. Although limitless sentient beings have thus been caused to pass completely beyond sorrow, no sentient being whatsoever has been caused to pass completely beyond sorrow. Why is that? Subhuti, because if a bodhisattva engages in discriminating a sentient being, he is not to be called a bodhisattva. Why is that? Subhuti, if anyone engages in discriminating a sentient being or engages in discriminating a living being or engages in discriminating a person, they are not to be called a bodhisattva. Further, Subhuti, a bodhisattva gives a gift without abiding in a thing, gives a gift without abiding in any phenomena whatsoever. A gift should be given not abiding in visual form. A gift should be given not abiding in sound, smell, taste, tactility, or phenomena either. Subhuti, without abiding in discriminating anything whatsoever as any sign, thus does a bodhisattva give a gift. Why is that, Subhuti? Because the heap of merit of that bodhisattva who gives a gift without abiding, Subhuti, is not easy to take the measure of. Subhuti, what do you think about this? Do you think it is easy to take the measure of space in the east? Subhuti replied, Bhagavan, it is not so. Bhagavan said, Subhuti, similarly, do you think it is easy to take the measure of space in the south, west, north?
Above, below, the intermittent directions, and the 10 directions. Subhuti replied, Bhagavan, it is not so. The Bhagavan said, Subhuti, similarly, the heap of merit that of that bodhisattva who gives gift without abiding is also not easy to take the measure of. Subhuti, what do you think about this? Is one viewed as a Tathagata due to the perfect marks? Subhuti replied, Bhagavan, it is not so. One is not viewed as a Tathagata due to the perfect marks. Why is that? Because that itself, which the Tathagata called perfect marks, are not perfect marks. He replied thus, and the Bhagavan said to this Venerable Subhuti, to the degree there are perfect marks, to that degree there is deception. To the degree there are no perfect marks, to that degree there is no deception. Thus view the Tathagata so I'm lost my place here. Hold on a second. Perfect mark. He replied to the Bhagavan that to this. No, he replied thus, and the Bhagavan said to this Venerable Subhuti, to the degree there are perfect marks, to that degree there is deception. To the degree there are no perfect marks, to that degree there is no deception. Thus view the Tathagata as marks and no marks. He said that, and the Venerable Subhuti replied to the Bhagavan, Bhagavan, in the future period, at the end of the 500, when the holy Dharma will totally perish, will any sentient beings produce correct discrimination upon the words of sutras, such as this being explained? The Bhagavan said, Subhuti, do not say what you have said. In the future period, at the end of the 500, when the holy Dharma will totally perish, will any sentient beings produce correct discrimination upon the words of sutras such as this being explained? Moreover, Subhuti, in the future period, at the end of the 500, when the holy Dharma will totally perish, there will be bodhisattvas, mahasattvas endowed with morality, endowed with qualities, endowed with wisdom, Subhuti. These bodhisattvas, mahasattvas, moreover, will not have made homage to just a single Buddha. They will not produce roots of.
Okay, okay, I guess you can see this. All right. Let's see. Above, below the intermediate directions and 10 directions. Subhuti replied, Bhagawan, it is not so. Are we on this page? Or am
We
I?
just finished this page.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, virtue to just a single Buddha. Subhuti, there will be bodhisattva mahasattvas who have made homage to many hundred thousands of Buddhas and produced roots of virtue to many hundred thousands of Buddhas. Subhuti, those who acquire merely a single mind of faith upon the words of such sutras as this being explained, Subhuti, the Tathagata knows. Subhuti, they are seen by the Tathagata. Subhuti, all those sentient beings will produce and perfectly collect an unfathomable heap of merit. Why is that? Subhuti, because those bodhisattva mahasattvas will not engage in discriminating a self and will not discriminate a sentient being, will not discriminate a living being, will not engage in discriminating a person. Subhuti, those bodhisattva mahasattvas will not engage in discriminating phenomena nor discriminating non-phenomena, nor will they engage in discrimination or non-discrimination. Why is that? Subhuti, because if those bodhisattva mahasattvas engage in discriminating phenomena, that itself would be of them grasping a self and grasping a sentient being, grasping a living being, grasping a person, because even if they engage in discriminating phenomena as non-existent, that would be of them grasping self and grasping a sentient being, grasping a living being, grasping a person. Why is that? Further, Subhuti, because the bodhisattva should not wrongly grasp phenomena nor grasp non-phenomena. Therefore, thinking of that, the Tathagata said, if by those who know this Dharma treatise as like a boat, even Dharma should be given up, what need is there to mention non-Dharmas? Further, the Bhagavan said to the Venerable Subhuti, Subhuti, what do you think about this? Does that Dharma that
was manifestly and completely realized by the Tathagata, unsurpassed, perfect, and complete enlightenment, exist whatsoever? Has any Dharma been taught by the Tathagata? He said that, and the Venerable Subhuti replied to the Bhagavan, Bhagavan, as I understand this meaning that was taught by the Bhagavan, that Dharma that was manifestly and completely realized by the Tathagata, unsurpassed, perfect, and complete enlightenment, does not exist whatsoever. That Dharma that was taught by the Tathagata does not exist whatsoever. Why is that? Because any Dharma manifestly and completely realized or taught by the Tathagata is not to be grasped, not to be expressed. It is not Dharma, nor is it non-Dharma. Why is that? Because Arya beings are differentiated by the uncompounded. The Bhagavan said to the Venerable Subhuti, Subhuti, what do you think about this? If some son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage, completely filling this billionfold world system with the 7 types of precious things, were to give gifts, do you think that son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage would produce an immense heap of merit on that basis? Subhuti replied, Bhagavan, immense. Sugata, immense. That son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage would produce an immense heap of merit on that basis. Why is that? Bhagavan, because that very heap of merit is not a heap. Therefore, the Tathagata says, heap of merit, heap of merit. The Bhagavan said, Subhuti, compared to any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who completely filling this billionfold world system with the 7 types of precious things were to give gifts. If someone having taken even as little as 1 stanza of 4 lines from this discourse of Dharma, also were to explain and correctly and thoroughly teach it to others, on that basis, the heap of merit produced would be much greater, incalculable, unfathomable.
Why is that, Subhuti? Because the unsurpassed, perfectly completed enlightenment of the Tathagata Arhat, perfectly completed Buddhas arise from it. The Buddha Bhagawans also are produced from it. Why is that, Subhuti? Because the Buddha Dharmas called Buddha Dharmas are those Buddha Dharmas taught by the Tathagata as non-existent. Therefore, they are called Buddha Dharmas. Subhuti, what do you think about this? Does the stream enterer think I have attained the result of stream enterer? Subhuti replied, Bhagawan, it is not so. Why is that, Bhagawan? Because one does not enter into anything whatsoever. Therefore, one is called stream enterer. One has not entered into form, nor entered into sound, nor into smell, nor into taste, nor into tactility, nor entered into a phenomenon. Therefore, one is called stream enterer. Bhagawan, if that's of that as a self, grasping as a sorry. Sorry, I'm having trouble with my microphone. I'm not sure how far you all heard me. Lamala, can you show me where I stopped? Okay. I have attained the result of stream enterer. That itself would be a grasping of that as a self, grasping as a sentient being, grasping as a living being, grasping as a person. The Bhagawan said, Subhuti, what do you think about this? Does the once returner think I have attained the result of once returner? Subhuti replied, Bhagawan, it is not so. Why is that? Because the phenomena of entry into the state of the once returner does not exist whatsoever. Therefore, one says once returner. The Bhagawan said, Subhuti, what do you think about this? Does the non-returner think I have attained the result of non-returner? Subhuti replied, Bhagawan, it is not so. Why is that? Because the phenomena of entry into the state of the non-returner does not exist whatsoever. Therefore, one says non-returner.
The Bhagavan said, Subhuti, what do you think about this? Does the Arhat think I have attained the result of Arhatship? Subhuti replied, Bhagavan, it is not so. Why is that? Because the phenomenon called Arhat does not exist whatsoever. Bhagavan, if the Arhat were to think I have attained the result of Arhatship, that itself would be a grasping of that as a self, grasping as a sentient being, grasping as a living being, grasping as a person. Bhagavan, I was declared by the Tathagata Arhat, perfectly completed Buddha, as the foremost of those who abide without afflictions. Bhagavan, I am Arhat, free of attachment, but Bhagavan, I do not think I am an Arhat. Bhagavan, if I were to think I have attained Arhatship, the Tathagata would not have made the prediction about me saying that the son of the lineage Subhuti is the foremost of those who abide without afflictions, since not abiding Since not abiding in anything whatsoever, he abides without affliction. He abides without affliction. The Bhagavan said, Subhuti, what do you think about this? To that Dharma that was received by the Tathagata from the Tathagata Arhat, perfectly completed Buddha, Dipankara exist whatsoever. Subhuti replied, Bhagavan, it is not so. That Dharma that was received by the Tathagata from the Tathagata Arhat, perfectly completed Buddha, Dipankara does not exist whatsoever. The Bhagavan said, Subhuti, if some bodhisattva were to say, I shall actualize arranged fields, they would speak untruly. Why is that, Subhuti? Because arranged fields are called arranged fields. Those arrangements were taught by the Tathagata as not existent. Therefore, they are called arranged fields. Subhuti, therefore, the bodhisattva Mahasattva thus should generate the mind without abiding.
Abiding should generate the mind, not abiding in anything. They should generate the mind, not abiding in form, or should generate the mind, not abiding in sound, smell, taste, tactility, or phenomenon. Subhuti, it is like this. If, for example, the body of a being were to become thus, were to become like this, as big as Sumeru, the king of mountains, Subhuti, what do you think about this? Would that body be big? Subhuti replied, Bhagawan, that body would be big. Sugata, that body would be big. Why is that? Because it is taught by the Tathagata as not being a thing, therefore it is called a body. Since it is taught by the Tathagata as not being a thing, therefore it is called a big body. The Bhagawan said, Subhuti, what do you think about this? If there were also just as many Ganges rivers as there are grains of sand in the river Ganges, would there grains of sand be many? Subhuti replied, Bhagawan, if those very Ganges rivers were many, there is no need to mention their grains of sand. The Bhagawan said, Subhuti, you should appreciate, you should understand. If some man or woman completely filling with the 7 kinds of precious things, that many world systems as there are grains of sand of those rivers, Ganges, were to offer that to the Tathagata Arhat, perfect completed Buddha. Subhuti, what do you think about this? Would that man or woman produce much merit on that basis? Subhuti replied, Bhagawan, much, Sugata, much. That man or woman will produce much merit on that basis. The Bhagawan said, Subhuti, compared to someone who completely filling that many world systems with the 7 types of precious things were to give gifts to the Tathagata Arhat, perfectly complete Buddhas, if someone, having taken even as little as a stanza of 4 lines from this discourse of Dharma, were to explain it and correctly, and
Julie, do you want to take a turn? So,
Yeah.
Julie, we're just going through, so you'll just go right after Venerable Lamo each time, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thoroughly teach it also to others on the basis of the merit that it would produce, which would be much greater, incalculable, and unfathomable. Furthermore, Subhuti, if at whatever place on earth, even a stanza of the 4 lines from this discourse on Dharma is recited or taught, that place on earth is a real shrine of the world with devas, humans, and asuras. What need to mention that whoever takes up this discourse of Dharma, memorize, reads, and understands and properly takes to mind will be most astonishing. At that place on earth where the teacher resides, other levels of gurus also abide. He said that, and the venerable Subhuti replied to the Bhagawan, Bhagawan, what is the name of this discourse of Dharma? How should it be remembered? He said that, and the Bhagawan replied to the venerable Subhuti, Subhuti, the name of this Dharma discourse is the wisdom gone beyond. It should be remembered like that. Why is that, Subhuti? Because they are the very same wisdom gone beyond that is taught by the Tathagata that is not gone beyond. Therefore, it is called wisdom gone beyond. Subhuti, what do you think about this? Does the Dharma that is taught by the Tathagata exist whatsoever? Subhuti replied, Bhagavan, the Dharma that is taught by the Tathagata does not exist whatsoever. The Bhagavan said, Subhuti, what do you think about this? Are the qualities of the particles on earth that exist in a billion-fold world system many? Subhuti replied, Bhagavan, the particles of the earth are many. Sugata, they are many. Why is that, Bhagavan? Because that is which is a particle of earth was taught by the Tathagata as not being a particle, therefore it is called a particle of earth. That is a world system that was taught by the Tathagata as not being part of a world system, therefore it is called a world system.
The Bhagawan said, Subhuti, what do you think about this? Is one to be viewed as the Tathagata Arhat, perfectly completed Buddha, due to those 32 marks of a great being? Subhuti replied, Bhagawan, it is not so. Why is that? Bhagawan, because those 32 marks of a great being that are taught by the Tathagata are taught by the Tathagata as no marks. Therefore, they are called 32 marks of the Tathagata. The Bhagawan said, further, Subhuti, compared with some man or woman completely giving up bodies numbering the grains of sand of the river Ganges, if someone taking even as little as a stanza of 4 lines from this discourse of Dharma also were to teach it to others, they would produce on that basis many greater merits, incalculable, unfathomable. Thereupon the Venerable Subhuti, due to the impact of the Dharma, shed tears. Having wiped away the tears, replied to the Bhagawan, Bhagawan, this discourse on Dharma taught thus by the Tathagata, Bhagawan, is astonishing. Sugata, it is astonishing. Bhagawan, since my production of exalted wisdom, I have never before heard this discourse on Dharma. Bhagawan, those sentient beings who will produce correct discrimination upon this sutra being explained will be most astonishing. Why is that? Bhagawan, because that which is correct discrimination is not discrimination. Therefore, correct discrimination was taught by the Tathagata, saying correct discrimination. Bhagawan, upon this Dharma discourse being explained, that I imagine and appreciate is not astonishing to me. Bhagawan, in the final time, in the final age, at the end of the 500, those sentient beings who take up this Dharma discourse, memorize, read, and understand it, will be most astonishing. Furthermore, Bhagawan, they will not
engage in discriminating a self, will not engage in discriminating a sentient being, discriminating a living being, discriminating a person. Why is that, Bhagawan? Because that itself, which is discrimination as a self, discrimination as a sentient being, discrimination as a living being, and discrimination as a person is not discrimination. Why is that? Because the Buddha Bhagawans are free of all discrimination. He said that, and the Bhagawan replied to the Venerable Subhuti, Subhuti, it is so, it is so. Upon this sutra being explained, those sentient beings who are unafraid, unterrified, and will not become terrified will be most astonishing. Why is that, Subhuti? Because this highest wisdom gone beyond, taught by the Tathagata, the highest wisdom gone beyond that is taught by the Tathagata, was also taught by unfathomable Buddha Bhagawans. Therefore, it is called highest wisdom gone beyond. Further, Subhuti, that which is the patience gone beyond of the Tathagata has not gone beyond. Why is that, Subhuti? Because when the king of Kali Yuga cut off my limbs and appendages, at that time there did not arise in me discrimination as a self, discrimination as a sentient being, discrimination as a living being, nor discrimination as a person. And in me there was no discrimination whatsoever. Yet there was also no non-discrimination. Why is that, Subhuti? Because if at that time there had arisen in me discrimination as a self, at that time there would also have arisen discrimination of malice. If there had arisen discrimination as a sentient being, discrimination as a living being, discrimination as a person, at that time there would also have arisen discrimination of malice. Subhuti, I know with clairvoyance that in the past period, during 500 lifetimes, I was the rishi called preacher of patience. Even then, there did not arise in me the discrimination as a self. There did not arise the discrimination.
The discrimination as a sentient being, discrimination as a living, discrimination as a person. Subhuti, therefore, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, completely abandoning all discrimination, should generate the mind for unsurpassed, perfectly complete enlightenment. One should generate the mind not abiding in form. One should generate the mind not abiding in sound, smell, taste, activity, or phenomena. One should generate the mind not abiding in non-phenomena either. One should generate the mind not abiding in anything whatsoever. Why is that? Because that itself, which is abiding, does not abide. Therefore, the Tathagata taught the Bodhisattva should give gifts not abiding. Further, Subhuti, the Bodhisattva should thus totally give away gifts for the welfare of all sentient beings. However, that itself, which is discrimination as a sentient being, is non-discrimination. Those themselves who were taught by the Tathagata saying all sentient beings also do not exist. Why is that? Subhuti, because the Tathagata teaches reality, teaches truth, teaches what is. The Tathagata teaches what is without error. Further, Subhuti, the Dharma that is manifestly and completely realized or shown by the Tathagata has neither truth nor falsity. So Buddha is like this. For example, if a man with eyes has entered darkness, he does not see anything whatsoever. Likewise, should one view the Bodhisattva who totally gives up a gift by falling into anything. So Buddha, it is like this. For example, upon dawn and the sun rising, a man with eyes sees various kinds of forms. Likewise, one should view the Bodhisattva who totally gives up a gift by not falling into anything. Further, Subhuti, those sons of the lineage or daughters of the lineage who take up the Dharma discourse, memorize, read, understand, and correctly and thoroughly teach it to others in detail shall be known by the Tathagata. They
are seen by the Tathagata. All those sentient beings will produce an unfathomable heap of merit. Further, Subhuti, compared to some man or woman at the time of dawn, totally giving up bodies numbering the grains of sand of the river Ganges, also totally giving up bodies numbering the grains of sand of the river Ganges at the time of midday and evening, in such number, totally giving up bodies for many hundred thousands of 10 million, 100 billion eons, if someone, having heard this Dharma discourse, would not reject it, if they themselves produce much greater merit on that basis, incalculable, unfathomable, but need to mention someone who, having written it in letters, takes it up, memorizes, reads, understands, and correctly and thoroughly teaches it to others in detail. Further, Subhuti, this Dharma discourse is unimaginable and incomparable. This Dharma discourse was taught by the Tathagata for the benefit of sentient beings who have correctly entered into the supreme vehicle, the welfare of sentient beings who have correctly entered into the best vehicle. Those who take up this Dharma discourse, memorize, read, understand, and correctly and thoroughly teach it to others in detail are known by the Tathagata. They are seen by the Tathagata. All those sentient beings will be endowed with an unfathomable heap of merit, being endowed with an unimaginable heap of merit, incomparable, immeasurable, and limitless. All those sentient beings will hold my enlightenment on the shoulder. Why is that? Subhuti, this Dharma discourse is unable to be heard by those who appreciate the inferior, by those viewing a self, by those viewing a sentient being, by those viewing a living being. Those viewing a person are unable to hear, to take up, to memorize, to read, and to understand, because that cannot be.
Hang on, what's that? All right. Further, Subhuti, at whatever place on earth this sutra is taught, that place on earth will become worthy to be paid homage by the world with devas, humans, and asuras. That place on earth will become worthy as an object of prostration and worthy as an object of circumambulation. That place on earth will become like a shrine. Subhuti, whatever the son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage takes up the words of the sutra like this, memorizes, reads, and understands, they will be tormented, will be intensely tormented. Why is that, Subhuti? Because whatever non-virtuous actions of former lifetimes that were committed by those sentient beings that would bring rebirth in the lower realms due to the torment in this very life, those non-virtuous actions of former lifetimes will be purified, and they will also attain enlightenment of a Buddha. Subhuti, I know with clairvoyance that in the past period, even in more countless of eons, much beyond, even beyond, the Tathagata Arhat, perfectly completed Buddha, Dipankara, there were 8,400,000 of 10 million, 100 billion Buddhas whom I pleased and have pleased, did not upset. Subhuti, from whatever I did, having pleased and having upset those Buddha Bhagawans in the future, and at the end of the 500 from taking up this sutra, memorizing, reading, and understanding Subhuti, compared to this heap of merit, the former heap of merit does not approach even 100th part of 1,000th part of 100th of 1,000th part, does not withstand enumeration, measure, calculation, similarly, equivalence, or comparison. Subhuti, at that time of the sons of the lineage or daughters of the lineage, will receive the quality of heap of merit that if I were to express the heap of merit of those sons of the lineage or daughters of the lineage, sentient beings would go mad and would be disturbed.
Further, Subhuti, this Dharma discourse being unimaginable, its maturation indeed should also be known as unimaginable. Then the Venerable Subhuti replied to the Bhagawan, Bhagawan, how should one who has correctly entered the Bodhisattva's vehicle abide? How practice? How control the mind? The Bhagawan said, Subhuti, here one who has correctly entered the Bodhisattva's vehicle should generate the mind thinking this, I shall cause all sentient beings to pass completely beyond sorrow into the realm of nirvana without remainder of the aggregates. Although sentient beings were caused to pass completely beyond sorrow like that, no sentient being whatsoever was caused to pass beyond sorrow. Why is that, Subhuti? Because if a bodhisattva engages in discriminating a sentient being, he is not to be called a bodhisattva. Also, if he engages in discriminating a person, he is not to be called a bodhisattva. Why is that, Subhuti? Because the Dharma called one who has correctly entered the bodhisattva's vehicle does not exist whatsoever. Subhuti, what do you think about this? Does that Dharma that was manifestly and completely realized by the Tathagata from the Tathagata Dipankara, unsurpassed, perfect, and complete enlightenment, exist whatsoever? He said that, and the Venerable Subhuti replied to the Bhagawan, Bhagawan, that Dharma that was manifestly and completely realized by the Tathagata from the Tathagata Dipankara, unsurpassed, perfect, and complete enlightenment, does not exist whatsoever. He said that, and the Bhagawan replied to the Venerable Subhuti, Subhuti, it is so. It is so. That Dharma that was manifestly and completely realized by the Tathagata from the Tathagata Dipankara, unsurpassed, perfect, and complete,
complete enlightenment does not exist whatsoever. Subhuti, if that Dharma that was manifestly and completely realized by the Tathagata were to exist at all, the Tathagata Dipankara would not have made the prediction to me saying, young Brahman, in a future period, you will become the Tathagata Arhat, perfectly completed Buddha called Shakyamuni. Subhuti, thus, since that Dharma that was manifestly and completely realized by the Tathagata, unsurpassed, perfect, and complete enlightenment does not exist whatsoever. Therefore, the Tathagata Dipankara made the prediction to me, saying, young Brahman, in a future period you will become the Tathagata Arhat, perfectly completed Buddha called Shakyamuni. Why is that? Because Subhuti Tathagata is an epithet of the suchness of reality. Subhuti, if someone were to say that Tathagata Arhat, perfectly completed Buddha, manifestly and completely realized unsurpassed, perfect, and complete enlightenment, they would speak wrongly. Why is that, Subhuti? Because that Dharma that was manifestly and completely realized by the Tathagata, unsurpassed, perfect, and complete enlightenment, does not exist whatsoever. Subhuti, that Dharma that was manifestly and completely realized by the Tathagata has neither truth nor falsity. Therefore, all dharmas are Buddha dharmas, was taught by the Tathagata. Subhuti, all dharmas, all those are non-dharmas. Therefore, it is said that all dharmas are Buddha dharmas. Subhuti, it is like that. For example, like a human endowed with a body, and the body became large. The Venerable Subhuti replied, Bhagawan, that taught by the Tathagata, a human endowed with a body and a large body, is taught by the Tathagata as not being a body. Therefore, endowed with a body and a large body is said. The Bhagawan said, Subhuti, it is so. If some bodhisattva were to say, I shall cause sentient beings to completely
pass beyond sorrow, he should not be called bodhisattva. Why is that, Subhuti? Does the Dharma that is called bodhisattva exist whatsoever? Subhuti replied, Bhagavan, it does not. The Bhagavan said, Subhuti, therefore it was taught by the Tathagata that all dharmas are without a sentient being, without a living being, without a person. Subhuti, if some bodhisattva were to say, I shall actualize arranged fields, he too should be expressed similarly. Why is that, Subhuti? Because the arranged fields called arranged fields are those taught by the Tathagata as non-arranged, therefore they are called arranged fields. Subhuti, whatever bodhisattva appreciates that dharmas are selfless, saying dharmas are selfless, he is expressed by the Tathagata Arhat, perfectly completed Buddha, as a bodhisattva called a bodhisattva. Subhuti, what do you think about this? Does the Tathagata possess the flesh eye? Subhuti replied, Bhagavan, it is so. The Tathagata possesses the flesh eye. The Bhagavan said, Subhuti, what do you think about this? Does the Tathagata possess the divine eye? Subhuti replied, Bhagavan, it is so. The Tathagata possesses the divine eye. The Bhagavan said, Subhuti, what do you think about this? Does the Tathagata possess the wisdom eye? The Subhuti replied, Bhagavan, it is so. The Tathagata possesses the wisdom eye. The Bhagavan said, Subhuti, what do you think about this? Does the Tathagata possess the Dharma eye? Subhuti replied, Bhagavan, it is so. The Tathagata possesses the Dharma eye. Bhagavan said, Subhuti, what do you think about this? Does the Tathagata possess the Buddha eye?
Subhuti replied, Bhagawan, it is so. The Tathagata possesses the Buddha eye. The Bhagawan said, Subhuti, what do you think about this? If there being also just as many Ganges rivers as there are grains of sand in the river Ganges, there were just as many world systems as there are grains of sand of those. Would those world systems be many? Subhuti replied, Bhagawan, it is so. Those world systems would be many. The Bhagavan said, Subhuti, as many sentient beings exist on those world systems, I totally know their continuum of consciousness of different thoughts. Why is that, Subhuti? Because a so-called continuum of consciousness is that taught by the Tathagata as a non-continuum. Therefore, it is called a continuum of consciousness. Why is that, Subhuti? Because past consciousness does not exist as an observable, nor does future consciousness exist as an observable. Nor does present consciousness exist as an observable. Subhuti, what do you think about this? If someone completely filling this billion-fold world system with the 7 types of precious things were to give gifts, do you think that son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage would produce an enormous heap of merit on that basis. Subhuti replied, Bhagawan, enormous. Sugata, enormous. The Bhagawan said, Subhuti, it is so, it is so. That son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage would produce an enormous heap of merit on that basis. Subhuti, if a heap of merit were a heap of merit, the Tathagata would not have taught a heap of merit called a heap of merit. Subhuti, what do you think about this? Should one be viewed as the Tathagata due to the total achievement of the form body? Subhuti replied, Bhagawan, it is not so. One should not be viewed as the Tathagata due to the total achievement of the form
body. Why is that, Bhagawan? Because the total achievement of the form body is taught by the Tathagata not as being total achievement, therefore it is called total achievement of the form body. The Bhagawan said, Subhuti, what do you think about this? Is one to be viewed as the Tathagata due to perfect marks? Subhuti replied, Bhagawan, it is not so. One is not to be viewed as the Tathagata due to perfect marks. Why is that? Because that which was taught by the Tathagata was perfect marks, was taught by the Tathagata as not being perfect marks. Therefore, they are called perfect marks. The Bhagawan said, Subhuti, what do you think about that? If this is a thought that the Tathagata considers that the Dharma is demonstrated by me, Subhuti, do not view it like that, because the Dharma that is demonstrated by the Tathagata does not exist whatsoever, Subhuti. If someone were to say the Dharma is demonstrated by the Tathagata, Subhuti, he would depreciate me since non-exist and wrongly seized. Why is that? Subhuti, because that demonstrated Dharma, called demonstrated Dharma, which is referred to saying demonstrated Dharma, does not exist whatsoever. Then the Venerable Subhuti said to the Bhagawan, Bhagawan, in the future period, will there be any sentient beings who, having heard this demonstration of such a Dharma as this, will clearly believe? The Bhagawan said, Subhuti, there are not any sentient beings or non-sentient beings. Why is that? Subhuti, so-called sentient beings because they were taught by the Tathagata as non-sentient beings, therefore are called sentient beings. Subhuti, what do you think about this? Does the Dharma that was manifestly and completely realized by the Tathagata unsurpassed and completely enlightened?
Complete enlightenment exists whatsoever. The Venerable Subhuti replied, Bhagawan, that Dharma that was manifestly and completely realized by the Tathagata, unsurpassed, perfect, and complete enlightenment, does not exist whatsoever. The Bhagawan said, Subhuti, it is so, it is so. For it, even the least Dharma does not exist and is not observed. Therefore, it is called unsurpassed, perfect, and complete enlightenment. Further, Subhuti, that Dharma is equivalent, since for it, inequivalence does not exist whatsoever. Therefore, it is called unsurpassed, perfect, and complete enlightenment. That unsurpassed, perfect, and complete enlightenment, equivalent as selfless, without sentient being, without living being, without person, is manifestly and completely realized through all virtuous dharmas. Subhuti, virtuous dharmas called virtuous dharmas, they taught by the Tathagata as just non-dharmas, are therefore called virtuous dharmas. Further, Subhuti, compared to any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage collecting a heap of the 7 types of precious things without equaling whatever Sumeru, king of mountains, exist in a billion world systems, and giving gifts, if someone having taken up even as little as a stanza of 4 lines from this wisdom gone beyond, or to teach it to others, Subhuti, compared to this heap of merit, the former heap of merit, having not approached even 100th part, does not withstand comparison. Subhuti, what do you think about this? If it is thought that the Tathagata considers sentient beings are liberated by me, Subhuti, do not view it like that. Why is that, Subhuti? Because those sentient beings who are liberated by the Tathagata do not exist whatsoever. Subhuti, if some sentient being were to be liberated by the Tathagata, that
itself would be of the Tathagata grasping a self, grasping a sentient being, grasping a living being, grasping a person. Subhuti, so-called grasping a self, that is taught by the Tathagata as non-grasping, yet that is grasped by childish ordinary beings. Subhuti, so-called childish ordinary beings, they were taught by the Tathagata as just non-beings. Therefore, they are called childish ordinary beings. Subhuti, what do you think about this? Is one to be viewed as the Tathagata due to perfect marks? Subhuti replied, Bhagwan, it is not so. One is not viewed as the Tathagata due to perfect marks. The Bhagwan said, Subhuti, it is so, it is so. One is not viewed as the Tathagata due to perfect marks. Subhuti, if one were viewed as the Tathagata due to perfect marks, even a Chakravartin king would be the Tathagata. Therefore, one is not viewed as the Tathagata due to perfect marks. Then the Venerable Subhuti said to the Bhagwan, Bhagwan, as I understand the meaning of what the Bhagwan has said, one is not viewed as the Tathagata due to perfect marks. Then these verses were spoken by the Bhagwan at that time. Whoever sees me as form, whoever knows me as sound, has wrongly engaged by abandoning. Those things do not see me. Those beings do not see me. The Buddhas are Dharmata viewed. The guides are the Dharmakaya. Since Dharmata is not to be known, it is unable to be known.
Subhuti, what do you think about this? If one grasps that the Tathagata Arhat, perfectly completed Buddha, is due to perfect marks, Subhuti, you should not view so far. So for Subhuti, the Tathagata Arhat, perfectly completed Buddha, does not manifestly and completely realize unsurpassed, perfect, and complete enlightenment due to the perfect marks. Subhuti, if one grasps that some Dharma has been designated as destroyed or annihilated by those who have correctly entered the Bodhisattva's vehicle, Subhuti, it should not be viewed so. For those who have correctly entered the Bodhisattva's vehicle have not designated any Dharma whatsoever as destroyed or annihilated. Further, Subhuti, compared to any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who completely filling with the 7 kinds of precious things, as many world systems as there are grains of sand in the rivers Ganges, were to give gifts, if any bodhisattvas attain forbearance that dharmas are selfless and unproduced, on that basis the heap of merit they themselves would produce would be much greater. Further, Subhuti, a heap of merit should not be acquired by the bodhisattva. The Venerable Subhuti replied, Bhagavan, should not a heap of merit be acquired by the bodhisattva? Bhagavan said, Subhuti, acquire, not wrongly grasp, therefore it is called acquire. Subhuti, if someone says that Tathagata goes or comes or stands or sits or lies down, he does not understand the meaning explained by me. Why is that? Subhuti, because the Tathagata, the Great One, gone thus, does not go anywhere, nor has come from anywhere. Therefore, one says that Tathagata Arhat, perfectly completed Buddha. Further, Subhuti, if some son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage were to render as many atoms of earth as exist in the billionfold world system, like this, for example,
into powder like a collection of subtlest atoms, Subhuti. What do you think about this? Would that collection of subtlest atoms be many? Subhuti replied, Bhagwan, it is so. That collection of subtlest atoms would be many. Why is that? Bhagwan, because if there were a collection, the Bhagwan would not have said collection of subtlest atoms. Why is that? Because that collection of subtlest atoms that was taught by the Bhagawan was taught by the Tathagata as no collection. Therefore, one says collection of subtlest atoms. That billionfold world system that was taught by the Tathagata was taught by the Tathagata as no system. Therefore, one says billionfold world system. Why is that? Bhagwan, because if there were to be a world system, that itself would be grasping a solid thing. That taught by the Tathagata as grasping a solid thing was taught by the Tathagata as no grasping. Therefore, one says grasping a solid thing. The Bhagavan said, Subhuti, grasping a solid thing is itself a convention. That Dharma does not exist as expressed, yet it is grasped by ordinary childish beings. Subhuti, if someone were to say viewing as a self was taught by the Tathagata, viewing as a sentient being, viewing as a living being, viewing as a person was taught by the Tathagata, Subhuti, would that be spoken by right speech? Subhuti replied, Bhagavan, it would not. Sugata, it would not. Why is that? Bhagavan, because that which was taught by the Tathagata as viewing as a self was taught by the Tathagata as no viewing. Therefore, one says viewing as a self. The Bhagavan says, Subhuti, those who have correctly entered the Bodhisattva's vehicle should know, should view, should appreciate all dharmas like this. They should appreciate like this, not abiding whatsoever in any discrimination as a dharma. Why is that? Subhuti, because discrimination
as dharma called discrimination as dharma is taught by the Tathagata as non-discrimination. Therefore, one says discrimination as dharma. Further, Subhuti, compared to any Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, who completely filling unfathomable and incalculable world systems with 7 kinds of precious things, were to give gifts if any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who, having taken as little as a stanza of 4 lines from this perfection of wisdom, were to memorize or read or understand or correctly and thoroughly teach it to others in detail, on the basis of that, the merit he himself would produce would be more calculable, would be more incalculable, unfathomable. How should one correctly and thoroughly teach? Just as one would not correctly and thoroughly teach. Therefore, one says correctly and thoroughly teach. As a star, a visual aberration of a lamp, an illusion, a dew, a bubble, a dream, lightning, and a cloud. View all the compound like that having been said by the Buddha Bhagawan, the elder Subhuti, those bodhisattvas, the fourfold disciples, bhikshus, bhikshunis, upakshas, upaksikas, and the world with devas, humans, asuras, Gandharvas, and overjoyed, highly praised, that taught by the Buddha Bhagawan, the exalted Mahayana Sutra on the wisdom gone beyond, called the Vajra Cutter Sutra, is concluded.
Yay. 100 million times. Okay, so let's see. Venerable Trikula, would you read the dedication prayers?
Sure. So due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may we quickly attain the state of Guru Buddhas and lead all living beings without exception into that enlightened state. May the supreme jewel bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish but increase more and more. Now the long life prayers. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All powerful Chenrei, Tense and Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. The one who mastered his speech at a very young age, the one with great patience who received the name Awatare, the one with great precision who spread the teachings of Lama Tsongkhapa on bliss and void. Lama, ornament of the yellow hat tradition, please remain until samsara ends. You who uphold this adores moral way, who serve as the bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Manjunath's victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplish magnificent prayers honoring the 3 jewels, savior of myself and others, your disciples, please, please live long. And for Geshe Gelik and Geshe Sangpo's long, happy, healthy lives. Om Tare Tu Re So Ha. 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 Om Tare Tu Re So Ha.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you so very much.
Have a
Okay.
great afternoon.
You too.
Take care. Where's my button?